In this Mysterio method, we're going to do part 2 of the review for Unit 1, Basic Geometry, and we're going to find the endpoint using the midpoint and another endpoint. So the midpoint, we've got 5 for the x, and then we've got 2, which is less than 5. And how do we get from 5 to 2? We subtract 3. So we need to turn around and go from 5 up to the other endpoint, and those distances have to be the same. So minus 3 and plus 3 would be the same distance, just different directions. And 5 plus 3 is 8. Now doing the y, we start off with the 1. Then we use the 5. 5 is bigger than 1. Put that on there. And how do we get from 1 to 5? We add 4. And then likewise we have the same distance, just the other direction. So instead of plus 4, we have minus 4. And 1 minus 4 is negative 3. Leaving our endpoint as 8, negative 3. So the next set of problems we're going to work on are distance formula. And again, just like with midpoint, the first thing we have to do is label. So we label our coordinates x1, y1, x2, y2, and then substitute our values into our formula. So x2 is negative 8 minus x1, negative 10. y2 is 1 minus negative 7. And if you plug that into your calculator, negative 8 minus negative 10 squared plus 1 minus negative 7 squared. And that comes up with 8.246, and that would round off to 8.25. So with the next task on distance formula, we need to first identify the points, the locations. So that's negative 2, 0, and 3, negative 5. And just like before, we have to label those points as well. x1, y1, x2, y2. And just like as we did in the previous problem, go ahead and substitute those into our formula, because x2 being 3 minus negative 2 plus negative 5 minus 0 squared. And once we type that into our calculator, we arrive at an answer of 7.071, so forth and so on. And that 1 is going to just tell the 7 to stay right where it's at, so 7.07. And for our last problem, we're going to do perimeter using distance formula. Now remember on this one, if you have any vertical or horizontal sides, we don't have to do distance formula. So luckily enough, AD we already see is 4, because it's a vertical line right there, and we don't need to do that. So next, let's look on each individual one. We're going to do AB. Now the way you figure out your x2, x1, y2, y1 on this one is the first point's A, the second point's B, and that's the simplest way to do it. So what is the x-coordinate of B? Well, it's negative 2 minus the x-coordinate of A, negative 4. And of course we're going to square that per the formula. Then we're going to add on the y-coordinate of B minus the y-coordinate of A, and we're going to square that, and finally place it all inside of the square root. And per what we've been doing, we're doing square roots of all of that again, as we've been doing. And we come up with our answer, and as it rounds off, 2.24. And this is where I'm going to fast track this one. So when we do BC, same deal. C is your second point, B is your first. So the first numbers for each parenthesis are coming from C. The second number from each one is coming from B. And that one's the same value. Don't get freaked out by that because it can happen. And then finally, if we do DC, same deal. First numbers are from D, and then the second numbers are from C. We get 3.16. And finally, perimeter just means that it's the distance around the outside. So we add up all of the numbers, and we get that the perimeter is 11.64. So good luck, guys, and hope you do well on your tests.